What's up? Hola, mi gente. I'm so happy to see you. And I got on my date clothes because we're going to talk about dating tonight on Objections. And I can't move another further, okay, without my partner in crime at Objections, Frank
There
Goodin.
we go. There we go. Now it's right.
Now it's right. You got now it's right. Welcome to my channel. I can't welcome you to the show because this is our show, right? So
Mhm.
welcome to my channel. If you guys are just tuning in, I say my channel because Frank and I share objections. So it's either on my channel or on Frank's channel. And Frank's channel is Talk with Frank Goodin, which you can find in the description of this video. Just scroll down, okay? And his channel, the link to his channel is there. But you must subscribe to both channels so you don't miss an episode of Objections. Again, Objections plays on my channel here on the Block with Jen, and it also plays on Talk with Frank Goodin's page. So we share the Objections panel. As you know, you can come in and object. You can join our panel and object respectfully and passionately if you must. Tonight's going to be an interesting show because it's not just about dating per se. It's something that happens in dating a lot. Matter of fact, this thing that happens in dating, women do it 150 more percent than men do. So you're going to want to stick around and find out why, right? Maybe we can answer that question. But 150% is staggering. So we're going to dissect it a little bit. And that subject is ghosting. Yes, ghosting. We're not talking Halloween, okay? We're talking about ghosting after you've met someone. And I think there are different levels of ghosting and different reasons. Some people think it's lame. Some people think it's very necessary. So I want to know what you guys think about ghosting. Have you done it? Have you been on the end of ghosting? Do you think it's lame or do you think it's very necessary? Frank and I will share our stories, our personal stories tonight because I have some doozies regarding
Mhm.
ghosting, but I'd love to hear your comments and objections. And please do not hesitate to join our panel. Let me check out these comments. I threw the link in the comments if you want to join us. But let's get right into this, Frank. What do you know about ghosting before I start?
Ghosting, this is kind of an interesting topic for me, Jen. And first of all, let me just say, glad to always be here. You look lovely tonight
Thank
on the
you.
with the dating thing going on, talking about ghosting. So, you can't ghost me on objections now. You ready? You
Hey,
can't ghost me on that. It's a very interesting topic in that it's something that I haven't given a lot of thought to. And I think that has to do with personality type. And one of these days, I'm going to bring up on my channel, I don't know if maybe it'll be an objections thing or maybe it'll be something I cover. But as you know, like I follow or at least kind of subscribe to the Myers-Briggs personality type. And
okay.
Myers-Briggs is a very interesting personality type index that breaks down personalities in 16 different personality types. Mine happens to be INTJ. And it just so happens that the INTJ personality type is a type that is prone to ghosting folks.
Uh-oh.
And
Uh-oh.
we don't think much about it. And it's because it's the INTJ personality type is a very logical personality type. And if we find someone to be a little bit too overly emotional or erratic with their thinking,
Mhm.
or possibly it might be some other things like toxic behavior. um, and toxic is a pretty big word, but we find behavior that might be considered toxic from anyone. We will quote unquote ghost. And after doing some research, I found that yes, I have done that. And ghosting here, let's kind of maybe set the ground, or at least for me, set a sort of a ground definition for ghosting. typically ghosting is when you cut off all communication with somebody, and it's usually abrupt. There's no ramp down,
Right.
it's immediate and it's without explanation.
Right.
You offer no reason why. And I feel like there have been times, especially maybe when I was a little younger, maybe less so here lately, but where I've done that. Someone has quote unquote turned me off so much that I, it's not even worth me taking the time to explain it. I don't want to get into an emotional back and forth. It really doesn't matter to me. It's just easier to just say, you know what, that's going to be the last time I speak to them. And with INTJs, we are very, like, we're usually off and on. We're 100% with you, very, very loyal to our friends. Or if it's the other way around, we're 100% committed to ignoring you. So and I think that maybe qualifies as ghosting. So I haven't really thought about it in terms of, wait a minute, how could that possibly be making somebody feel? Now,
Mhm.
on the flip side, before I go into that, on the flip side, okay, have I been ghosted?
Right.
Frankly,
Right.
and this is how, and I think this way, and I think this is how maybe the typical INTJ personality type looks at it. It's really, really tough to quote unquote ghost us because most people are on my outer layer, so to speak. Like, you can maybe imagine there's 5 layers of interaction with somebody like me on INTJ. The outer
Mhm.
layer might be colleagues, people who might know you.
Mhm.
And then, the inner layer might be some people who, well, the fifth layer, I should say, the fourth layer might be people who kind of know you a little better. Third layer is empty because we don't let too many people get too close.
Mhm.
Second layer is now this is your family, people who kind of know you. And the first layer might be extremely close friends or a spouse. You're on the fifth layer to me anyway, mostly, or the fourth layer. So if you so-called ghost me, it's just making my life easier, more
Mhm.
simple,
Mhm.
or at worst, it might be akin to the trash taking itself out. So
Oh, ouch! Ouch!
in the worst case scenarios, truly. So ghosting is just something that never even registered to me in terms of it, but there is a flip side to it. And I've been talking a minute, so I think I'll stop there, but I'm only just now even becoming cognizant of the notion of ghosting.
Okay, so I'm gonna challenge your definition of ghosting, although it's a general definition. If you Google ghosting, the definition will be exactly what you said. But I'm gonna challenge a little bit how you see it, right? Because you said I don't think I've been ghosted, and if I have, whatever, it's the trash taking itself out, right? So it's like I'm not even, all the way. But what if you were really, really feeling a woman and you was like, she's my type, I like her personality, I really want to see her again. And then you shoot that text out, right? Nothing, silence, radio silence. She never responds again. Aren't you going to feel what happened? Aren't you going to feel like, what happened? You're not going to feel a little sting?
I mean, hit me with a hypothetical, and it's because the way INTJs work, generally speaking, is that we don't go at it like the way you said, where it's like you really, really like them and you really, really feel them. We don't even approach relationships that way. It takes a long, long, long time. Then there might be something attractive about a person, and we look at it that way, but that's why it's so hard. It's just the way we look at things. It's We don't come at it that way. There might be a different personality type that meets somebody and falls hard and puts their whole heart into something, and it's like, whoa, I thought we connected.
Right.
But I just don't enter beginning relationships like that.
Oh,
So
okay. Fair enough.
yeah, so I
Fair
imagine.
enough.
Okay, go ahead.
You,
Yeah.
you get to get off the hook with that one, and the only reason I'm letting you off the hook is because I have the same type of personality. Now, I believe I took that test many, many, many moons ago, so I can't even get into what personality type I am. But basically, as you were describing your INTJ, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much how I am, which is why I didn't, like you, I didn't really grasp the ghosting, thing, right? Although it's something that's been going on forever, like everything else in life, people are just starting to label stuff, right? Like everything has a label now. Like everything has a label now. Like it's like, when you pick up your glass of water and they pick up their glass of water at the same time, it's called watering, and you're like, what? What?
or Generation Z adulting.
Yes. There's so many, labels now. So apparently, when we're no longer interested in someone, it is called ghosting. So
Wow.
we have to deal with it because, people are connecting it to mental illness, abandonment issues, stress, all kinds of things. So, you know what I mean? I think it's worthy of looking at, right? Are we hurting people's feelings? Are we being callous? Or should we be more considerate? I don't know if we're going to object to each other too much, but we didn't get into the battle of the sexes yet, which we will. But I think so far, I agree with you because I don't approach relationships, and I can't even say relationships. I have to say acquaintances, right? Because when I meet somebody, it's an acquaintance. I don't know you yet. You have to do or say something or be some sort of personality type that I'm really, really attracted to for me to think past acquaintance. But initially, I'm just, oh, he's cool. I'm getting to know him. Let's see what happens. But I've never met a guy who was like, oh my God, this is my husband. Have you been thinking about marriage? What do you feel about kids? Like, I'm not that woman, so I can't relate to someone who's put so much in at the onset, where if you got ghosted, you'd be, completely torn up, right? And eating a tub of ice cream. I can't relate to that concept. Maybe someone could come in and explain how that can happen, but I can't explain it because I can't relate. I can relate to the ghosters, right? Because I've done it a lot, and apparently women do it 150% more. So I've done it a lot, apparently, according to the statistics, right? 150% more it's again, it's staggering. So I've ghosted. Yeah. You know what I mean? And some people, some articles I researched were like, well, these are the reasons that you should ghost. And you should never ghost if this happens. And I was like, whoa, hey, you know what I mean? I think it's all relative. You can't tell me when to ghost and when not to ghost because you don't know when I'm feeling uncomfortable, right? Or you don't know when I'm feeling disrespected. So no, I'll ghost accordingly. I will ghost accordingly. I will govern myself accordingly with my ghosting. So I agree. There's no objection thus far, but the night is young, ladies.
It sounds like you retain the right to ghost. I mean, there are people who will say, hey, no, don't ghost unless it's like extreme circumstances,
Right.
abusive, or you get someone who turns out to be just a straight creep, and so they're not even adjusted. How do you feel about that? Because there are people who say no ghosting.
I don't think okay, to answer your question in short, you should ghost if you feel like ghosting. I know it sounds horrible, but I feel like there are no bounds. You should ghost if you feel like ghosting. I do not think, I am sorry, I do not think that we are responsible for people's abandonment issues. I do not think that we are responsible for people having a lack of initiative to take care of their mental health, right? My thing is heal, then date. Heal, then date. And I have this argument a lot with people where I'm like, no, heal, then date. No one owes you any coddling. No one owes you therapy. No one owes you psychoanalysis, right? But because we become such a mental health sensitive society, we're not asking everyone to care about everyone's mental health. And that's an impossibility for a myriad of reasons. Not just because we're not qualified, but we have lives to live, right? So your mental health is your responsibility. It is so much your responsibility. And I think we've lost that in the age of hypersensitivity. And no, you must care. And no, you must, care about this other person's feelings. But, I told a woman the other day that I was debating about ghosting. She was like, no, that's cruel. And you could send someone into a downward spiral and you don't know how. And I'm like, lady, listen, if me ghosting a man sends him into a downward spiral or depression, he should not be dating. Should not be dating. Heal, then date. And I think that's the number one problem with adults who claim they're adulting. They don't adult well. And they come in with all this baggage, men and women. It's like, hey, I have this baggage and I need someone to carry this baggage with me. Are you willing? Versus I'm at 100%. I've been through hell and back. I'm healed. I'm not perfect, but I'm good enough to where if you say or do something to me, I'm not spiraling out of control and being triggered all over the place.
Right. So let's push it, because right now we have kind of had a limited definition of ghosting where basically it's maybe dating or dating someone new per se. But let's push it. Let's push it, say 6 months from now. What if you, and you could flip it even on me, what if you were dating someone for 6 months now and you were therefore had the opportunity to really get to know them? Now they're kind of in one of those, for me, you're penetrating the circles a little bit now. You're not on level 5, you're down here at level maybe 4, maybe approaching, trying to squeeze past level 3. What happens then? Is ghosting appropriate? Or is there a sense of, listen, no, don't ghost, even if you turned out to, be someone who you're learning things about that you don't like? Should you ghost? Because for me now, I'll throw it to you, but now we're getting into some situations where I have been in those situations before. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I have.
Well, to answer your question, 6 months.
Yeah.
After 6 months, I would be devastated. If I'm dating you for 6 months and it's like, hey, we're doing this boyfriend girlfriend thing, we're doing this, let's see where this goes, I would be devastated and shocked after 6 months. And no, I don't think you should ghost after 6 months. That's a bit narcissistic and psychopathic. Now, at my age now, with my experience, if someone did that to me after 6 months, I wouldn't be devastated because of my experience. And I actually dated someone who used to do that often until I got used to the pattern, and I got, I researched narcissistic personality disorder and how people, it's actually called, the name that they use for it in psychotherapy is discard. Ghosting is discard, right? They discard you and then they come back. So it's kind of like ghosting, but it's just ghosting for relationships.
Wow.
I would say. So after 6 months, I absolutely would be devastated. And I think anyone that's ghosted after any amount of months, it's a huge red flag. Since now red flags are trending, it is a huge red flag if someone ghosts you after months of dating. That's a whole different animal. So I'd say that's a great big old red flag, because if that person does come back, there is something mentally wrong with that person and you should run.
Right.
So now we're talking about months in, but do tell.
Yeah. So
Frank,
I didn't necessarily. I was in a situation where it seemed as if it turned into a ghosting situation almost by default. We basically were seeing each other pretty steady. It was a long distance relationship, so it's not like you're with the person. She was in a different city, and but a nearby city here in Florida, and it see, I want to put that up. Someone just put in here, sometimes ghosting is necessary. It's kind of interesting. So
how do you put these at?
I think you go into comments and then click on it, and it should be able to pop it up. But so we slowly got to know each other and got pretty close. But as we were getting close, I was learning more and more things about her that I didn't find truthful or authentic. And I think
Mhm.
that's a better word. And
Mhm.
so then there's this thing where it's like a kind of a, okay, we're putting a stop to it because I need to get to know you better type
Okay.
thing. But she wasn't trying to put the stop to it. She wasn't kind of feeling the, okay, well, let's slow down and now take a little bit more time. And for
Right.
me, it was at a time when I was actually getting much more busy with, with work and things that I do. So there was that time where there was maybe kind of a holding or a ramping. But what happened, which was interesting, is
Mhm.
that um, we began to disagree on some things near the end. And there was this weird pressure where I knew it was going to become sort of a situation where I was going to have to now explain a whole lot from my perspective.
Okay.
And she must have seen it coming. I don't know, because she cut it. And it turned out like she basically ghosted, I guess you could say, me, because there was some things, just some real minor things that we were disagreeing on that we should talk about, but it was
Mhm.
minor. But she cut it, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, she's giving us a break. We'll talk at some point,
Right.
right? And so I'll wait for her to call me so we can talk. And but I'm on my side, I'm like feeling relief because there was this pressure to move forward that is now has been removed, but
Mhm.
it turned into a ghosting by default because she never called and I never called to, I'm thinking in my mind, we should definitely talk so we can
You
maybe.
froze.
Uh-oh, you there? You there? You there? You there? You back? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, great, great, great. Yeah, and I'll just finish it up. We're in a situation where I felt like we should talk. It's just kind of have a conversation, and maybe
Mhm.
it would be a tough conversation, but
Mhm.
she never called, I never called, so it turned into a straight up ghosting situation over time. So it was really weird.
Well, let me ask you though,
Yeah.
did you reach out to her like, "Hey, what's up? You haven't called. What's going on?"
No, I didn't. That's how it turned into a ghosting situation because I never did that,
All
and
right,
she never did
that
it.
doesn't sound really like a legitimate ghosting situation.
You said it doesn't, or it
It
does?
doesn't.
Okay, so how do you how do you see it?
It sounds to me like you guys were dating, it wasn't working out, it was slowly deteriorating, and you guys both mutually were like, "Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work."
Yeah, that's what I mean. But isn't that kind of a ghosting because there was no formal conversation
I'd
that
say it was
said
ghosting light.
ghosting like gotcha. I mean, because that's an awkward thing. It's like, should I send her a text saying, hey, I don't think it's working anymore. You're not as valuable to my life as I thought, you were or you used to be. And so, like, how do you send that text? And
Right.
have a nice life.
Like I gotta say, it sounds like a ghosting light or a mutual ghost.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I think a mutual ghost is yeah, that someone said people with mental disorder, alcoholics, drug addicts.
Mm.
What about them? The one and only. Let's hear it. Um, yeah, so that's like a ghosting light, and it sounds interesting. Though I'm
Mhm.
trying to think back. Did I ever in a situation like that where we were kind of like, this isn't working?
Like both of y'all were like, nah, at the same time.
Yeah. I don't recall because I'm usually like, nah, in the beginning. I'm like, I'm like, no, I shouldn't have said that. I say something that's funny that people think is funny, but I'm like, women know when they're attracted to a guy, and they start. Well, I start at 100, right? Like
Mm,
some people's like, you have to build trust, you have to build attract, you have to build. I'm like, I give you 100. Why? And this is unorthodox, right?
mhm,
I give you 100 because I do not know you. So I don't know you enough not to trust you. I don't know you enough to gauge your loyalty levels. I don't know you enough. So I give you 100. Here's your gift. Here's 100. Now
mhm,
let's see where you go from 100, right?
mhm. I totally get that, Jen.
But I'm gonna give you 100, right?
Right.
A lot
Right.
of people come in and they'll give you 2 coins. I'll give you
Right.
2 because of everything I've been through and all my baggage, and you kind of resemble 3 of my exes ago, and I've been burned, so I don't know. I'm not doing that. Women that feel that way should
Mhm.
not be dating.
Mm.
They should not be dating. Sorry, girls. I know I'm getting kicked out the girl club for that, but they should not be dating, right?
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
you cannot give someone 100 when you meet them,
Mm.
not date them, and do not date, period, right?
I
Because if I
agree.
meet you and I'm kind of like, I don't know yet. There's something, I'm not going to do it.
I totally get that. And so that's why it's a little bit tougher right at the beginning because you allow the person to show you who they are. So
Right.
you kind of hold back the judgment, if you will, because you're in the evaluation phase.
Hmm.
But you allow them to show you who they are. And when they show you, you take them at face value.
Right.
Hmm.
So that's what I do. I give them 100. I'm like, if I'm even here with you, sitting at this dinner table at this restaurant, you know what I mean? If I'm even on the phone with you, you already have the 100, right?
Hmm.
That is.
Hmm.
And a lot of women give men the 100, they just don't tell them. They don't know. But they'll tell their girlfriends, like, girl, I really like him. We're going out on Saturday. Oh my God. And then we just sit and observe and watch. What does he think about religion? What does he think about politics? What does he think about poor people? What does he think about
Hmm.
children? Does he love his
Hmm.
mama? So then it's like the 100 can go 99, 98, 97,
Mhm.
and then you're gonna be, scarily close. Maybe you hit the 40, and now you're in the ghosting area. You're in the
In
ghosting
danger,
zone,
yes.
right? You're in the ghosting zone. So I want to talk a little bit about why I've ghosted,
Yes.
right? Because I know people are gonna watch this and they'll be like, what would it take for her to ghost somebody? Right. And I'm not an evil ghoster. I'm a nice ghoster. Like some of these guys are still on my friends list on social media. So I haven't blocked them, right? But let me tell you, I'll tell you 2 incidents specifically, right? Where I've had to ghost, right?
Okay.
One of them was I was really feeling this guy. He had all the bells and whistles. I was like, okay, gave him the 100, right? But we were living in separate states, and he was coming into town one weekend. And he calls me up. He's like, hey, well, I'm like, hey, what's going on? He was like, yes, I'm gonna be in town. So I was wondering, like, could I crash with you? I was like, oh.
Right.
I was like,
That's kind of a wait a minute.
what? And this was a guy that tangibly on the surface had his shit together. He had a little, I'm not gonna say what kind of company. I don't know who's watching this. He had a little, you know what I mean, a business, a little family business. He did, you know what I mean. So I'm like, definitely someone, not wealthy by any means, but definitely someone who could afford a hotel room. I
Mhm.
mean, teenagers can afford hotel rooms when they run down to Cancun. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So that was off-putting. I was like, no, you can't like crash with me. Like you don't even know my situation. I'm not gonna bring a man into my home. You know what I mean? My little castle. Like, no. I was like, so red flag number 1, right? Now you're in the ghosting environment, right? But I was like, okay, maybe he's just
So he lost like 60 points off that one
oh
alone?
yeah. He felt
Okay.
pretty hard, but he was still in there. He felt pretty
Okay.
hard, right? And him and I had never seen each other in person, which was
Mhm.
another thing, right? It's not like we've hung out together. I've never seen him in person. This was all phone and text, right?
Wow. Mhm.
And then after that, now he's already at a low score. After that, he thought it'd be funny a couple days later to send me the infamous, proverbial, disgusting dick pic.
Oh.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the dick pic, right? And it wasn't even an attractive. There's such a thing, ladies and gentlemen. There are attractive penises. Sorry to disappoint you, but there are attractive penises and unattractive penises, and some that are, I could work with them, right? Sorry. Gentlemen, if you're listening, do not send unsolicited dick pics, right? And if you are going to send one, solicit it. or to your girlfriend, or to remind her, hey, babe, I'm waiting for you. Oil it up, oil it up. Don't send her the dry penis pic. Don't do it. Make them look healthy. Do it in the shower. I'm trying to help you guys. I am a friend. Okay? I am a friend. So homie sends me the dry dick pic on top of everything else. Right? And the ghosting commenced. And that was it. And I never spoke to him. He texted me a couple times, hey, laughing emoji, where you at? Nothing. I went radio silent. And here's what's interesting. He doesn't know why I ghosted him, I guess. But I'm like, if I have to explain to an adult male that that's something that you don't do with someone that you haven't been intimate with, you know what I mean, never even seen in person, I didn't ask for this, right? If I have to explain that to you as an adult, yeah, this is going to be an uphill battle that I don't want to climb, right? I don't want to climb with you. So completely ghosted. But every now and then he pops up like on my Facebook or my Instagram. Well, not I deactivated my Facebook pages, but he pops up on my Instagram. Hey, what's up? Hi, happy birthday. You know, little light things like that. And I just, I'll click like a like on his comment. Yeah, okay, hey.
Wow. I mean, you're being very, to me, generous just to do that. So he didn't get the block? Any block?
He didn't get the block because it wasn't malicious. It was infantile, right?
You get the block from me for being infantile.
Really? Like, yes. That's what I'm saying. I'm a nice ghoster. I'm a nice ghoster. And then the second incident, and I'll throw it back to you because you have to tell me why you ghosted, Frank. I'll tell you the second incident. Hey, Patrice, good to see you.
In the house, yeah.
I'll tell you the second incident. There was a guy, same deal. Hey, he got it going on. He's cute. He's easy on the eyes, right? Okay, let's do this, right? Another gentleman who I'd never shared space with in person, right? We're still doing the phone thing. We're vibing though. The chemistry's good, right? And we're on the phone one day. He's livid. I mean, livid, okay? And he's just going off about his baby's mother. I mean, off the rails. And I'm like, okay, we have a rapport, so let me listen to him vent. I'm that friend. Yeah, hey, what's going on? This bitch, blah, blah, blah. I was like, whoa, hey. So that's just how you see women. That's a red flag for me, right? And he's just going in and off. And I was like, okay, so this man has a volatile relationship with his baby's mother that is not situated. Like, I was just like, and it turned me off because he was so violent, you know what I mean, about his baby's mother. And then I ghosted him after that. I was like, yeah, I don't want to be in the middle of this. I don't even want to ever get in a situation with you where you're speaking to me like that, because I've had my past and my baggage. And I'm like, yeah, no, dude, I'm good. But he's another guy who's like, hey, happy birthday. When Facebook tells you whose birthday it is, like, hi, thanks.
You don't block them. All right, keep going. I definitely want to jump in.
Right. So they're still on the friends. But those are two incidents where I ghosted, and I felt and of course I've ghosted many more times than that for little things. But those were the ones that really stuck with me, where I'm like, what were you thinking, dude? Like, yes. Why would you do that? Right?
See, to me, they earned those both of them. And so there's this thing where to me, those are two situations where you could point to and say, okay, well, these are the reasons why these statistics are saying that women ghost 1.5 times as much as guys do, because absolutely you should. That's a smart move. Those are red flags that you are spotting, you're listening to, and you're saying, peace, that no mas. That's it.
Vaya con Dios.
Exactly. So you should, my opinion, you should be ghosting. So it's funny when we talk about it, people are talking about it from other ways. Like, I have read, in doing some of the research, I've read how, people have been in long relationships with somebody, and then just ghosted them, and read how, the person who was ghosted took them years to recover from it because they got no explanation. So that's a different thing than this righteous ghosting, I'm going to call it, from you,
Right.
where, listen, that's it. There's a line there, you have crossed it, and there's no way back, and there's no need to even talk about it.
Right. That's why
Right.
that's why I like talking about the dating ghosting, because it
Yeah.
seems to be an issue. Before you get into why you've ghosted women, because newsflash, men do it too,
Mhm.
right? Even though
Mhm.
women do it at 150% more rate, but men do it too. Um,
Mhm.
before you get into that, I'd really like to explore, are we responsible for other people's feelings, emotions, and mental health when we go? Should we be responsible? Should we care more about the opposite person's mental health before we say peace? Because I wasn't thinking about dry penis guy's mental health, and I was
Right.
thinking about angry baby daddy's mental health. I was just like, I'm out, I'm gone, goodbye.
Right. I think that's a good question. After my research, like before I started really looking into this, I would have said an unequivocal no. Um, if I decide that, hey, I'm out and that's it, then hey, that's it. And however you feel, it's just however you feel. But after doing a little bit of research on it, I feel like that it's not quite a black and white answer. I think it might be a nuanced answer, where I think there may be times um, where it's the right thing to do to kind of lay it out and give an explanation, especially if they're in situations where it's not malicious. They're just like infantile, say, just being, and you shouldn't have to say it, but sometimes it's good to do just a little bit of educating on the way out.
Object! Straight up object.
I really do. I really
Think
don't.
about that ignorant. Yeah.
I hear you, and I totally get it. But yeah, there's a part of me, and you know what? And I've tried. When you just asked me, situations where I was in a situation um a while back where the person was extremely clingy, and I should have seen this red flag from the start because she was clingy from day one. But
Uh-oh.
I ignored it because I was looking at attributes,
Uh-huh.
let's just say, that
Yeah, give me that smile.
had me going, right? And so I kind of ignored it. Plus, when you meet someone who, and this I think happens more with the ladies, maybe I don't listen. I think the ladies to the men, and maybe vice versa. But when a woman is really clingy, like they really are showing you physically that they like you, and there are certain people who have those personality types, that can be kind of flattering. And so you kind of be into the flattering mode of, wow, she's really into me, and so you kind of soak it up, and
Until
maybe you
she's
don't
in the
necessarily
bushes.
say again.
Until she's in the bushes.
Right, right.
For
Yes.
you to come
And so
home.
you don't see that part coming, right. And so, I mean, it got to the point with her where after I was explaining some things and had actual communication, and she understood it, but still she would come up with ways to try to, and maybe some of this being a lady, I'm in the neighborhood and I need to use the restroom. Can I
Oh,
come over to your house? I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but she pulled that on me. Like, I really need to go. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
that's that's a little stalker and
Yeah,
stalkerish and weird.
it's close. It's very close.
That's a little
And
weird.
so, it wasn't too long after that where I had to go ahead and turn the page all the way. And so that's a situation where I feel like it was justified, especially after having maybe explained some things ahead. There was kind of an understanding. You should have saw that door closing, you know. So yeah, so yeah, it's I've done it before, and it's real interesting, real talk. I'm being 100% honest. I don't. now that I'm reading more about it, I don't feel comfortable saying that I have actually ghosted somebody. I don't feel comfortable. I actually feel kind of bad.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Actually, 'cause
Wow.
I do. I feel like I, there's some way that I could have explained, taken the time, at least that one time, so that they know on the way out, instead of me just saying radio silence. So I do. I actually feel
That's nice.
feel the way I feel a way about it.
That's really, really nice. I don't feel that way about any of my ghosties. I'd really have to sit and think like, wow, was that unfair? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this other guy who I was really, really digging. Right? I give him the box. It's 100. Here you go.
Mm.
And but him and I were getting a lot closer. And I tell this story all the time, and people they think I'm you, and you guys are gonna think I'm lame for this. Perhaps that's okay. I'll take it. And him and I really were vibing, right? The chemistry was there, but again, we hadn't spent time in person.
Mm.
So I think it's easier to ghost, and we're gonna get into ghosting being even a dangerous thing when you've already been, up close and personal with someone.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily for me, my ghosting incidents were like, yeah, we didn't share space. And we were vibing enough to where it's like we're talking every night. And after midnight, you're on the phone, things get a little looser, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get a little more,
It is what it is. Yep.
Right? You're on the phone with somebody after midnight, hey, things could pop off.
Mm-hmm.
So we went into this little, phone sex session, right? And I'm telling y'all my business, but I don't care. I don't care. We all family here tonight.
Tonight, one night.
Tonight, take advantage.
Right.
Okay, and somebody's gonna record and play it back. She said, it's okay. So we get into this phone sex session. We're adults. It's late Saturday night. We could talk about this. We get into this phone sex session, and he sounded horrible. Like, you want to talk about dried up real quick?
And you didn't see that coming when you started it. That's what's funny. You didn't see it coming.
At all.
Go ahead.
I was completely taken by surprise. Like, I'm all grooving.
Yes.
And I was like,
wait a minute.
It was true story. It was shocking to me. I didn't expect it. The dude was smooth. He was always in a suit. I was like, why do you sound like, when they wet the second gremlin? Not even Gizmo. Because, when you wet Gizmo and other gremlins pop up. I'm talking about when they wet this guy, the second guy. He sounded like a complete rabid gremlin. And I was like, oh, and I ghosted him after that. What's interesting is that he didn't ask. He didn't ask after that night, hey, what's up? What's going on? I'm not hearing from you. He just kind of like texted me a couple times and I didn't respond. And then I guess everybody went on with their lives. But I don't know. I give you
what happened.
It's a double-edged sword because I'm going to give you my box, the 100.
Right.
With all the trust and everything that you need, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm also very easily turned off. So it's not a happy 100 I'm giving you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not an easy 100. It's like you're starting at 100 with me because I don't know you not to trust you. Mm-hmm. But I'm very easily turned off.
Right. No, you watching close. You get the 100, but you watching for yeah. Yes.
I'll give you the 100.
You might want to put.
Okay, so explain exactly what ghosting is, so I'll know if I've ever done it or had it done to me, Frank.
See, Patrice, you came in. You're a little late to the game. We was all over it. You joined the stream late. We talked about it. We and it's probably you've done it.
Yes.
We'll just put it that way, and it may have happened to you. It kind of depends on the person. So
it's something we've been doing for years and they just put a name on it. Ghosting is basically you meet somebody, you're vibing, then they do something that you don't really like or have a taste for, personality-wise, physically or whatever, and you completely ghost them. Like you go ghost on them. You don't reply to text messages. You don't
Nothing.
answer phone calls. You just do not reply, and you leave them forever thinking, oh, I don't know what happened. You don't reply at all. You completely vanish. They should call it vanishing, but they call it ghost,
Ghosting.
right? I guess Patrick Swayze and ghost and all of that.
Ha.
Right.
I'll tell you, this latest gentleman you just talked about, he may have been a logical person. I feel like he may have worked it out really quickly. You know, he may have, and that's my personality type. If you do happen to do this, then for me, usually I'll figure it out. I'll just work it out and be like, oh, okay, you know, that's the reason why. The thing that scars people is some people, not all, they don't know what the reason is and they can't figure it out. They think from their side, oh, everything was great, everything was going well, and then poof. And for example, men have done this because you've read the phenomena of maybe a man that's dating someone for years, and then you'll see something posted on the internet where she's saying, I was with this man for 5 years, but then he up and married somebody in 3 months or 6 months. That's on that trail. That's on that line of ghosting too. And something like that can be traumatic. I think if you just leave without explanation, she's wondering what, she, I guess from her perspective, thinks she's doing everything right.
So with that, again, it's like, now we're going into what I researched when it said mental health, right? And they're even coaching people in some of these articles of how to get over being ghosted, how to deal with it mentally, how to protect yourself. And I was like, you guys, what is going on? Is it really that devastating to be ghosted? Are we planning? Like, the pictures in the articles was like girls in a little bathrobe eating ice cream and tears. I was like, I just feel like you meet up with somebody, you kick it, you vibe, either you don't, and then it's like, peace out. I don't want to send you into a mental health crisis. But again, I think a lot of people putting themselves on the market, not being completely healed, and that is not my problemo thing.
I honestly feel like it's a personality type issue here. I really do. I think there's some people who will flat out be affected by it, and other types who are absolutely not affected by it. But the ones I think the way you couch this at the beginning is so good, Jen. We are living in this era, in this age now, where we are naming, we're putting these names and kind of making a clinical diagnoses of things that just are kind of a natural thing that's been around forever. We are becoming more and more PC, more and more segmented, and it's a very, very, it's harmful in a lot of ways, I think, because you're just turning everything into a problem, right?
Everything, like the pendulum has swung all the way to the other side and broken off.
Yes.
Right? It's not even like, oh, hey, now we have nice people and no more bullying and nice people. No, now it's like it swung and broke off, and now we're all in like, what's going on? I can't do anything, I can't say anything, I can't think anything, I can't, and I think that being that it broke off, it puts women in a more vulnerable position, because what you're telling women is, no matter how you feel, right? You could be feeling uncomfortable with a guy, don't ghost, because you have to care for his mental health. And I think that puts women yet again in a more vulnerable position than it does men, because I can reject a man, right? And say, I don't want to be with you. And it can turn really ugly, right? A man can reject me at the onset, and I'm not going to jump up and be capable of strangling him to death. And we've heard those stories. Now, this is the dark part, because we have to dissect. This is the dark part of ghosting, and why I believe women do it 150% more, because they don't want the confrontation, right? Because a man will never walk down the street or across a construction site and be whistled at. And if he rejects the person whistling at him, the woman isn't going to curse him out and say, oh, you're not all that. the hell with you, BI word, H word, right? But it's happened to women, and it's happened to women a lot. So what are we raised to do? You know what I mean? Keep your legs closed, keep your head down, you know what I mean? Be quiet, don't make anyone feel uncomfortable. I've seen women not even be able to tell a man at a bar, I'm not interested, for fear of being confrontational, right? Or too bitchy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why women do it more. They're like, you know what? I don't want to be in a confrontation. I don't want to be bothered. So I'm going to ghost this guy. Because from a very young age, we're taught to like cater, and the man is the stronger sex, and whatever he says goes. And men are naturally aggressive, right? Because they're hunters, and
testosterone.
like a testosterone, right? And they take ownership of women in the room sometimes, mentally, if not physically. So I think that's why the statistic is so staggering. 150% more women ghost, 150% more. I think it's necessary. I think we have to a lot of times. But I think that we get put in an ugly space where people are like, oh, they're just doing that because they think they're all that, or they have the power, or it's pretty privilege, or whatever, you know what I mean, category they want to put women in. But it's dangerous. Women have been killed for rejecting a man, right? Recently, the 19-year-old was killed in Florida for rejecting a man. And there was the girl on the college campus who rejected the man. He raped her and he sexually assaulted her and killed her. So it's a lot more dangerous for women to say no, even though we're constantly being told, just say no, just say no. But even saying no gets us hurt.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's why women are more likely to ghost from the safety of their phone.
Yeah.
Or the safety of their, a text message, right? I'm not answering that. The dude was creepy.
Right.
I don't want to respond. So I think that with that pendulum swinging all the way to the other side and breaking off, it's dangerous, because now we're raising, young women to be like, hey, don't hurt anyone's feelings, no matter what you're feeling. Don't you hurt that man's feelings, because his mental health is a factor here, and that's dangerous. That's why I said early on, no, ghosting is fair game. Ghost if you feel like ghosting. Ghost feel like ghosting. Right? Something about you that did that, and that what that other person did that made you feel uncomfortable. Right? Even if there was no malice in it, you feel like, oh, this isn't for me, so I'm just going to exit here. That's what I would never tell any young women I know, hey, find out why he's acting that way first before you post. It's just too dangerous a thing to play with. Right? Even if the right thing to do, it is too dangerous for women to play in that arena. I will not advise women to, hey, find out what his mental health is first.
You know what? You see, and here's the thing. So you see me doing a lot of nodding, and I'm like, right. Hey, I'm not going to object with you on this one. I'm not even going to quibble. There are times, I think, where ghosting is necessary, and I'll agree with the way you put it. Sometimes women just flat out have to ghost.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. This notion has a gender component. It has a gender component here, and I'm wondering how. Now, here's the thing. I do have a question about. I guess you've done the reading. I'm wondering how many, like, is it the actual situation that guys are the ones that are somehow complaining or bringing this up as a problem? Is it guys that are, is it men that are saying, hey, ghosting is a problem here? I would think, to me, I tend to think that the feminine side is doing that, not the guys. But is that not the case?
The funny thing is that it started with what I saw. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because I know the YouTube streets are watching, and the red pill and the blue pill and all y'all watching, right? But I saw it start with men because they connected it to friend zone. That's where I first, very honestly and sincerely, that's where I saw it first, where it's like these women are ghosting. And I'm more than likely right, because women do it 150% more. Right? Well, it's not even. It's not even like, well, men and women equally, you know what I mean? It's like the divorce rate. Women file for divorce, men file for divorce. No, women ghost 150% more, which is very easy to gauge, well, then yeah, men were the ones that started complaining about this. But
Complaining
the
about it.
I saw it was it being connected to the friend zone, right? Women ghosting and women putting men in the friend zone. But then, of course, now it became gender neutral because men ghost women as well.
Mm, okay. I
Yeah.
get it. Okay, so then maybe it's just so funny. So funny when it just doesn't register. So it's not just an issue, and I totally see now that people are talking about it. But I'm
Right.
not gonna object with you on it. No, I'm feeling all the points you're making.
Now let's hear, why would you ghost someone today, now at your age, with your
Mhm.
experience?
Yeah.
How would somebody get ghosted by Frank today?
Yeah, yeah, you would get straight up ghosted. It's kind of some of the things I mentioned at the very beginning. If for me, if I find you to be irrational,
Okay.
like if my conclusion is after I, at any point, note this person is irrational, that's it. That's one reason. Two, if you betray my trust in some way that I find critical. Um, then you won't hear from me again. And that one is a pretty interesting one because I've had, close people, even family, honestly,
Mhm.
who cross that line and, not super close family, they're, like cousins, but, who cross a certain line, they don't even hear from me anymore. And in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give you 4 or 5 years now to figure out, to grow up and get it right, and then maybe we'll maybe we'll talk again. So you'll get ghosted, really. So to me, it's about it'll always happen on fundamental personality things that I find to be really important about someone's character. If it's like that, I'll just keep it moving. I'll keep it moving, and it won't be malicious. It won't be with the intention to hurt you. It will be with the intention of separating myself from your foolishness.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm in agreement with that. And
Mm.
but I ghost early.
Mm.
I go so super early that I don't think, like, at the rate I ghost, like at the rate I ghost, if it affects you mentally, something was wrong with you before you met me. Because I ghost in the beginning, right? We're not gonna go on 2, 3, 4, 5 dates. We're not gonna meet my family. Like, it's at the beginning, so it's enough time for you to like pick yourself up and
Mhm.
go talk to the next woman. Like I said,
Mhm.
I'm a nice ghoster, I think. I let you, you know what I mean? You pull the fish on the boat, then let's throw this one back in. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Like,
so I took that when you asked me that, I took a little bit too deep then. You wondering about dating wise.
yes, dating one.
Okay, so I took a little bit too deep. So
Like, you see
dating
a girl,
wise,
she's attractive, you're like, hey, yeah,
right.
what you doing Saturday? Let's go out. What would make you ghost her?
This has
What
happened.
would happen on that
Let,
date?
let me yeah, I had one and I ghosted her. And what happened was, and again, I feel bad even saying that. I really do. I feel bad even saying it. Went on a date, we talked. Hey, whatever you want, she got. She was ordering and knocking back these drinks, and
Okay.
and she got so, I guess you could say, tipsy. I don't know if she got drunk, that um a lot of times ladies just want to be heard,
Hmm.
want somebody to listen to. And so once she got him in her, she was nonstop. I could not get a word in edgewise. And this is an attractive, really beautiful young lady who had really maybe had too much, but I saw how the inhibitions kicked in once you was drinking them, and it was just a turn off. It was just an absolute, turn off. And so yeah, she got ghosted. But then again, I mean, it's not like she called and tried to say, well, what happened? I don't know how women are on that, so you never know. Maybe that was mutual too for whatever reason. I don't know, but for me, that was going to be it. There was no more.
Maybe
There was
she
not
was one of those maybe she was one of those free drinks, free meals girls that the men talk about all the time.
She struck me as a really sweetheart. She seemed like a sweetheart. She did. She showed me the sweetheart. I didn't get any of that from her. I honestly felt like she just had way too many, and she was just letting it go. And I was hearing about everything, every story. She was an. I'll say this much, but because like you said, you don't want to, you never know who's watching. But she's an airline flight attendant, and I didn't meet her in those circumstances, but that's what she did. And so she had all kind of stories about everywhere she went, and
You was looking at your watch like, oh,
yes, yes, because it hit you. These all these mundane stories that don't take you anywhere. You just going. So yeah, she she got ghosted.
now you've been ghosted. And why do you think you've been ghosted? Because you said, you can pretty much figure it out. The gremlin guy probably figured it out, like, oh, maybe that was too much that night, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Have you been ghosted? Why do you think?
Yes, I have, and this is so it hasn't been recent because I'm only I've come recently out of a 10-year marriage
Oh,
and or a 7-year marriage. That was we were dating for like 3 years before that, so it's not like I've been on the dating scene a lot here recently. It was I've been divorced now for 3 years, so this was way back. And what I remember is we got ghosted because of we had I believe it was a disagreement. We were early in the dating, getting to know each other. Yeah, that's what it was. We were early in the dating, and it was some simple disagreement, but I was very demonstrative with whatever my point was, whatever I was making. And I do it, and again, I didn't know it was coming, but I remember the look. She looked at me. This was sitting in the car, and she played it cool, whatever. After that, straight ghosted. This was in my 20s. I remember this in college.
so she was like that right there.
Yeah, I'm sure because it was something. It was very, it was something silly, But I was very demonstrative about it. Like this is how it's going to be, and for her, I'm sure she was thinking, no, this ain't how it's gonna be.
Right. Now, did you reach out like, hey, what's up? Good morning.
No, because
Didn't get anything back?
well, no, I knew I was ghosted because I did follow up, tried to call or whatever it was at the time. This is in 20s. I think it was probably texting or whatever. So, it wasn't like it is now with these smartphones. But but I definitely tried to follow it up, but got no response back. And so after once or twice of just absolute radio silence, then you figure out. Now at the time, again, I don't know. I don't even know if ghosting was a term back then.
No.
But, right. So it's like oh, okay. So then I did my INTJ thing. I thought about it, figured it out, and I was like, oh, that's what it was right there. So yeah, that was it.
Do you hear this? Adults, this is really adulting when you reflect. When something goes on, you pause, you don't continue harassing the person, you reflect and be like, what did I say? Was that too much? Right? We have OG Patrice backstage, and I am happy to bring her up because she always has amazing points of view. And then I think we're gonna close after Patrice. Everyone who's watching, thank you. Hi, Reginald Roberts. Please hit the like clicker, hit the subscribe clicker, and hit the notification clicker. And don't forget that we do objections. This was a nice laid back dating conversation, but we usually are in a verbal fisticuffs very respectfully on objections with our panel and with each other, Frank and I. Don't forget to go to Talk with Frank Goodin to subscribe so you know when objections is on, because we do it on this channel and on Frank's channel. And we appreciate you all very much. If you guys want us to tackle any subject in our voices, let us know in the comments and we will. And don't forget, you can join our panel to object to either myself or Frank. We are here for it. We ain't scared. Okay.
Sure.
So I want to bring up OG Patrice now. Hello, ladies.
Hello, good evening. How are you, Jen and Frank?
Patrice.
Good. Always good to see you. So I know you've been listening. You, like many people, had no idea what ghosting is, right? We all have to learn this new lingo and these labels of things that we've been doing for years, and they never had a label. So now they got a label. It is called ghosting. So what do you think so far?
Well, yeah, I definitely wanted to be sure that I had the meaning right because I had been hearing about the ghosting and what it meant and everything.
Mm.
And I will say, I've been ghosting for a long time. I'll just say that, and before it even got that name. But I would have to, as a woman, Jen, I would have to agree with you. It is so dangerous for women to turn men down in person or break off a relationship in person, and vice versa too, because it could be some crazy toxic women as well. But more often women be the result of violence, when they try to let a man down, break up a relationship. So a lot of times it is just better and safer to just go, to just like no call, no show, like you do at work when you don't want to go to work and you quit that job and you just like F that job. Like, I ain't even calling. I'm just done. I'm like, I'm just quitting. Like, no call, no show. Like, literally cut all communications off and just like nothing. So I agree. It's safer for women to do that. But yeah, I had it happen to me and I've done it to a few. So in this day and age, yeah, I think it's just safer to do it. And it happens all the time, because I'm dating, right? I'm on dating sites. It happens a lot on dating sites. Like, people ghost each other like left and right. They'll start off this really nice conversation and yeah, let's meet, and and then you don't hear nothing else from them. So you get you get ghosted even on the dating site. So I mean, it is what it is. It comes with the territory. I try not to take it personal because I've done it before, but I don't. I agree with Jen. You shouldn't stick around, be concerned about a person's mental health, because if they have issues, they've had those issues before you even came along. So you actually are dodging a bullet. I'd like to call it. You're dodging a bullet.
Mm-hmm. That's sort of what it was with me, where the trash is taking itself out.
And that
Um,
I love that point about the dating sites, because when I was doing my little research, they mentioned that it happens regularly on dating sites. Regular, it's like nothing to do on dating sites. And again, I think when you haven't sat across the table with someone yet and you haven't shared space, it's very easy to swipe left or right or whatever way you're swiping. And that's the situations I've been in where I've ghosted the majority of the time. I've ghosted people. I haven't had much interaction with them. Very rarely, although I have done it, very rarely do I actually have an in-person interaction with someone and then say, you know what I mean, peace. I've done it, but it's usually very light. You know what I mean? So
so I want to ask, and this is kind of something I want to put out. So do we think that because, like, with the dating sites is a really good example, maybe there's some other online type situations. Do you, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but I don't know, I think it's worth talking about. Do we think that because of that, it is kind of it's contributing to an overall environment where we devalue each other um, more than, say, we either used to or should, just in the general, because if it's so easy to just like swipe left or get to know somebody for a conversation or two and then boom, that's it. Or, maybe even meet with them. Oh, I don't, that didn't go right. Boom, discard them, ghost them. Is that something that is actually helping to devalue each other?
I
What do
I
you think about that?
absolutely say yes. Right? I absolutely say yes, because anything that comes in abundance is not valuable to you, right? I love filet mignon, but if every time I snap my fingers, you're bringing me a filet mignon, guess what? Filet mignon is going to be like eating a hot dog, right? It's like, okay, it's whatever. And I think, men and women, beautiful men, beautiful women, they're showing you their best on these dating sites. It happens on Facebook. I've done it on social media where I'm really liking a guy, you know what I mean? And it's like I look through his and there could have been a connection, but then I look through his gallery and I'm like, oh, he does that or he knows that person, whatever. Next. And then it's like the next, you know what I mean, attractive guy. So absolutely, yes. That's what I'm saying. We have to be careful with social media. You know, I think social media is the devil.
Yeah.
If the devil exists, it's social media. But yeah, I do think that I'm telling you, human beings are morphing into something different. It's gonna be scary in 10 years. But I absolutely, yes. I think the answer is yes, because it's like, oh, I could have got to know you. Now, the pro is that you don't waste time the way you would have back in the day. See, back in the day, you had to get to know someone. Now, all I have to do is check your gallery and see, oh, you're that guy when you get drunk at the club. Oh, you're that. Oh, you like that type of woman? You're that guy. We couldn't have seen that before. People tell on themselves a lot on social media. So I like it for that reason. But I absolutely have to say, yes, it's making a society where it's like, next.
I agree. Just to piggyback off of that, I agree because once I've communicated with a guy or met with a guy long enough to know his first and last name, I'm already researching him. I'm researching his social media if he has it. I'm doing background checks to find out if, he got a record, like, especially if like I'm continuously dating him and going out with him, we getting to know each other really good. And I'm really like starting to like this guy. But it's like at the same time, I don't want to ask him like, do you have a criminal record? Are you a felon? Or, what I mean? So like, I just kind of do my research on my own, and definitely the social media pages helps. And I'm gonna just tell this funny story right quick. Like I met this guy on a dating site and we had been talking for a few weeks. So we make arrangement. He asked me out for a date and we meet up in a public place because that's just what I do. Like, and what I have a thing, me and my girlfriend, I let my girlfriend know I'm meeting this guy. This is his name. This is where we're going on this date, just in case. Like we have all these safety precautions, me and her, because she's on the site too. And I'm like, we need to let each other know.
Yeah, that's like, common, right? That's a common thing with the ladies, right?
Very.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I meet this guy. We meet up, having a great time, great conversation, having a nice dinner and drinks. And now he asked me out, but then at the end, when the check comes, he springs on me, let's go Dutch. And I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, you asked me out. Now I could see if maybe we both agreed, you want to go out, let's go out, whatever. And we discuss ahead of time if we're going to go Dutch. I say, so you do this and you ask me out? He was like, we just at the stage of getting to know each other. I said, but you still should have said that. That should have been a conversation prior to us meeting to go out. I said, but you know what? No problem. I paid my half of the bill and I walked out and I left him there. And do you know he had enough nerve to try to text me the next day talking about, hey, I hope you wasn't mad about. I'm like, dude.
Of course he's going to do it. Did you ghost him or did you reply?
I did not reply. I like block.
You blocked him. See,
I didn't even.
He caught a block.
It's like I blocked him on everything on the site. I left him on my phone. Like I block all communications because I ain't got time for that, dude. You already know what you did. I didn't like what you did, and I walked out. I actually walked out after I paid my half of the bill. It's like, nah. Because that was red flags it showed me a whole nother side. But usually it doesn't take men long. It doesn't take women to find out long about men. Men, for some reason, they give it away in something they say, something they do. You check their social media. You're gonna find you'll find something.
You find that to be true, Jen, also?
Yes. Like, I don't know if you heard earlier, Patrice, but I was talking about when women meet men, what I do, I give them, they start at 100, right? The score is 100. And then what they do and say will bring that score down. So there's always, I'm giving you 100 because I don't know you enough not to trust you, right? And then they'll go 99, 98. I was like, oh, he thinks that. Oh, he said that. Oh, and then it's, it goes down. But I noticed that I used to look people up, just for dating purposes, but now it's every little thing. As soon as I meet somebody, whether it's for business, show business, or a friend of my daughter's, it's like social media. Let me see what this person's about. So it's
Exactly.
like it's automatic for me now. It's like let me see how they talk, how they walk, what they like, what they post, what kind of music is that. It's automatic now. It is automatic. That date I think would fall under lame, and I don't think people understand. It's not the money, because people will hear that story and be like, "Oh, so what? He wanted to go Dutch." To me, it's the principle, right? If you ask me, you pay. If I ask you, I pay. If I want
Exactly.
Dutch, we are friends forever.
Exactly. Exactly.
And let me know that we're gonna go hang out and eat with on a friendly, you know what I mean? Because then I'll go Dutch all day.
She said forever.
But see, this the thing with me and the dating sites. Listen, I'm dating with a purpose. I'm not on there to meet a bunch of friends and have a bunch of men friends forever. Like that's not my goal. So
Right.
when they talk about when they want to put me in a friend zone, I'm like, no, I'm good. I got enough friends when it comes to that. I'm good, because you'll collect a bunch of men friend, and it's like that's not what I'm looking for. So nah, sorry, not sorry, but not trying to be your friend.
And they're just trying to, collect contacts. That's why they do that, so they can have options in their phone. No, buddy, no.
Oh my God, yes. Because when I lived in Vegas, guys used to always, oh, well, I'm in Vegas all the time, and I'm coming to Vegas. I'm not going to be your Vegas good time girl. Every time you come to Vegas, you want to look me up and kick it and have fun and maybe try to sleep with me or something. Like, no.
Right.
Yeah. That's where I am now. And people think that your life is a party 24 hours a day.
Right.
Like, you're in Vegas, I'm gonna be there this weekend. I'm like, I go work this weekend. Like, what do you want me to do about you coming out here? So yeah, that's interesting. That's lame. That deserved a ghosting as well. Corny.
See,
absolutely.
To me, that leads. I got a question. So definitely, you got that little red flag right there, and so you're gonna ghost. That's one of your things. So, did you guys remember a while back when the lady was out? They were driving with a guy, and there was this conversation where she basically kind of ghosted the guy, or at least wanted to ghost him, because she asked, can they went through a McDonald's drive-through. I don't know if you remember this story, and she and to get her kids something, and then she dropped it on him, like at the last minute. Oh, can you pay for it? Can you get my can you get my kids these McDonald's Happy Meals? And he was like, no. He was like, no, no, I'm not.
See, I would have done it, right? Because I'm like, your kids are hungry. They're probably not going to eat tonight if I don't do this. But that's a definite ghost after that. You will not.
Okay, that's what she said.
You will not hear from me again. Like, I'll give you money to feed your children. It's not going to kill me, but you will not see me again.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, you guys.
And you know what? I have also ghosted guys, but I have also told them why. I have also said that. Have you ever done that, Jen? And I don't know if you can call it ghosting, because I explained why I don't want to see them anymore.
A nice ghoster.
I do it to men that are inappropriate. And I feel like I have to do that, especially when I've talked to them and they've told me they have daughters. And I say, how would you feel if your daughter came to you and a man told you that he did this to your daughter or said that to your daughter? And when I tell you, they get so quiet, it's like a pin drop. Wow. They get so silent. But I can't stand inappropriate behavior in men. And if we've discussed the fact that you have kids, especially if you have daughters, that's the question I'm throwing back at them, to hope that they think about and they get quiet. And I really don't hear nothing else from them after that. And it's like, good, but I'm gonna let you know you inappropriate as fuck,
I'm Monday. That's what I'm talking about. Saturday night on the bill. So what? Now I'm feeling like, you know what I mean, shooting a little inbox to dry penis guy. and be like, hey, you know why I don't talk to you anymore?
Right.
Let me tell you about the picture he sent me. All right? It's 5 years.
Yeah, it just, oh God, the inappropriate behavior, it gets me. I can't stand that. Like, okay, we getting to know each other, we vibing, communicating good, then all of a sudden you get the D pic.
Yeah.
Like you get the D
Wow.
pic. Like I didn't, like, dude, like what? Like, or I've gotten a video of the whole doing the act
Oh my God.
scene. Yes, like I'm like,
God.
and I'm telling you, this guy was a police officer, and I threatened to call his job on him.
Wow.
I say, you are inappropriate. Yes, crazy, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, sir. No,
Oh my
sir.
God.
Again, I repeat, gentlemen, if you are still watching, do not send unsolicited penis pictures or videos to
Yeah.
anyone.
Thank you.
Ever. I say it again, ever. No, I've never wanted to see the penis of a man that I was not intimate with. I don't want to see it. Do not send it.
Exactly. And I don't know why they think that. Did they get the sending that, they'll ask for a pic from you, and then I say, well, I got plenty pics on my profile. I got full body pics because I'm not fooling you. I want you to see my whole body. So if we ever meet, like I am who I am, I look at like I look. I say it's enough pictures on there, but they start asking for pics. So I might send a pic in my car or something on my way to work, but then they send an appropriate pic of them, nothing but a towel or in their underwear where they print is showing. It's like, dude. It's like, wow, I can't, like, that's so.
But you should be thankful in a way because they're just letting you know where their mentality is right off top.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so,
Yeah. That's why I say I dodge a bullet. With men like that, women dodge a bullet every time. Because
yeah,
if he's doing it to me, he's doing it to other women too.
exactly.
And just not have, a care in the world about your own body. You know what I mean? Just sharing your body and throwing your body out there to whoever says a lot too. It's like, no,
exactly.
No gracias. All right, guys. It has been another amazing episode of Objections. We didn't have a lot of verbal fisticuffs, but we learned a lot about ghosting. If you watch the show and rewind it to the beginning, you will know the statistics, who does it more, why should you do it, mental health, X, Y, and Z. Patrice, as always, it is a pleasure to have you here.
Yes, thank you.
Here. Anybody watching Objections shows on the Block with Jen and also on Talk with Frank Goodin. We share the show, Objections here, Objections there, along with our other content. So please remember, you can object to anything we're saying respectfully. We put you on a timer. I didn't put a timer on Patrice because we vibe and we kicking it Saturday night. So I only did it that one time, and I was like, we don't need no timer tonight. We kicking it tonight. Alan, Reginald, Patrice, Tristan, the one and only, thank you so much for participating tonight, and everybody else who I can't name right now because we got to get out of here. Share this show, or at least the idea of the show. Each one teach one, right? Subscribe, hit the like. And thank you so much for joining us. Again, have an amazing Saturday night, what's left of it. Stay safe and ghost if you want to.
Absolutely. You guys too. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.